We are 20 years into the 21st century. You might be wondering, how do today's classrooms look compared to 20th century classrooms? The biggest difference that comes to mind may be technology. While this is a key component in 21st century learning, there are other aspects you might see in today's classrooms as well. Three key aspects of 21st century learning are technology, creating student-centered environments, and preparing students for the unknown future. All of these components should be kept in mind by teachers in order to equip their students for success in the 21st century. According to Principal Nancy Blair, we must increasingly put technology into the hands of students and must trust them with more progressive technology use. This is important to recognize with students of all ages. Technology is so prevalent in the world around us that students are probably already using it at home, or, if not, they need to be taught how to use it. While technology is ever-changing, it is crucial that we get students familiar with technology use so that it can be used to enhance their learning and they can better adapt in the future. In my 4th grade student teaching placement, I used technology to introduce new concepts, reinforce student learning, and assess their knowledge. In a science unit that I taught on plant adaptations, we began by watching a video about how plants grow and the different parts of a plant. This gave my students background information that would help them understand the basics of plants before we dove into talking about plant adaptations and how they change to fit their environment. Later in the unit, we watched an interactive video to reinforce what students had learned. While watching this video, students had to stop and make predictions about whether or not the plants would survive in certain environments. I also planned a social studies unit for my students about prominent people and events in Illinois' history. At the end of this unit, students were to use their Chromebooks to make a Google Slides presentation about a person or event from Illinois' history that they wanted to learn more about. Then they presented this Google Slides presentation to the class. 21st century classrooms should also be student-centered. According to Teacher Thought staff, in this type of environment, students should have the autonomy to learn through discovery. Instead of sources of information, teachers should act as facilitators that guide students in learning. The classroom should reflect the various learning styles of the students and allow them to demonstrate their learning in their own ways. One way that my mentor teacher and I worked towards creating a student-centered environment was through the use of conferences. Over the course of 2 weeks, we met with each student individually to talk about their learning preferences, strengths, and areas where they need support. This allowed us to understand what our students needed from us and develop a classroom environment that was tailored to our students' needs. 21st century classrooms must also prepare students for the unknown future. According to EF Explore America, many of the jobs students will have don't exist yet. Because of this, we must prepare our students for the future by developing their problem-solving skills, creativity, ability to think critically, and their cultural awareness. Since the world is constantly evolving and dynamic, it is important that our classrooms reflect that. When I was in 5th grade, I remember working on a project about the quarry by our town. The teacher informed us that one day the quarry may be filled in, which would result in a great amount of space by our town left completely open. The teacher asked us to work with a partner to develop a plan on what we think should go in that space and why. This project was particularly enjoyable for us because it seemed like a real possibility, and we were able to be creative and innovative. With this information in mind, I am thinking about how I can make sure my classroom is aligned with the aspects of 21st century learning. One thing I would like to learn more about is how I can use technology to promote critical thinking and problem solving. Right now, I feel like I know how to use technology to reinforce what my students are learning or assess their knowledge, but I'm not as familiar with how I can use technology to promote critical thinking and problem solving. After learning about the TPAC framework created by Mishra and Kaler, I feel that I have a better awareness of using technology to make learning easier and not just using technology for the sake of doing so. Going forward, I'm going to learn more about how I can use technology to enhance critical thinking and problem solving by exploring the Twitter world of educational technology. Although I have known that Twitter is a great resource for teachers, I'm still learning about how I can use it to benefit my practice. I think exploring ways that I can use technology in innovative and meaningful ways in the classroom would be a great way for me to get started in exploring Twitter. I am also going to work on ways I can provide opportunities for student choice in the classroom. It is so important to me that students feel that they have a voice in my classroom and that they know I value their opinion. One way that I'm going to make this apparent to my students is by giving them choice. I would like to give my students choice by offering multiple ways to complete an assignment. For example, I might allow students to choose between writing a paper or creating a presentation that they can present to the class. I can also allow students to choose between book selection, writing prompts, or where in the class they would like to work. By consciously developing my skills and how I can use technology to enhance critical thinking and problem solving, and by providing opportunities for student choice in the classroom, I believe I am moving towards establishing a 21st century classroom that prepares students for the world around them.